It's not that we forgot God or the martyrs or the prophet's holy word. Quite the opposite. In fact, we were boys built to love what was in front of our faces. My brother and I on the floor draped across each other, laughing tears into our prayer rugs. I had never heard of Kaveh Akbar, our poet today, until a few short months ago. One of my favorite things to do is to listen to Padraig Otuma's podcast, Poetry Unbound. Do any of you know it? Yes, yes. Padraig Otuma is a stunning poet himself who offers these short 10-minute or so treasures on his weekly podcast that feature him reading a poem with this gorgeous Irish lilt. I could listen to him read the phone book to me. And then he speaks to its rhyme and its meaning and the author for a while, and then he reads the poem once more at the end. And this was one of those poems. And Padraig Otuma shared that this poem, How Prayer Works, holds the idea of prayer, which can often be an abstract one. He said, it holds the idea of prayer with the physical sensation of what's right in front of you, what's happening, who's right in front of you, how are you being with each other, what's going on, how can you be drawn towards each other, and that itself is the answer to prayer. Those are his words. That itself is the answer to prayer, what's going on right in front of you. My mentor, Reverend Frank Clarkson, spoke frequently about this ever-present invitation to what is going on right in front of you all the time. It was what he called the holy. And he even warned me at my ordination last May. Some of you were there. He warned me not to be tempted by the impulse in ministry and in congregational life to be everywhere in an attempt to run an institution, become the bogged down, harried pastor, not unlike the white rabbit in Alice in Wonderland, right? No time to say hello, goodbye, I'm late. Yep. For in this state, I am certain to miss the holy that is right in front of me. And I've apologized to some of you over the past few weeks for my tight schedule. Just a few weeks ago, I had to leave one meeting early to arrive at another meeting late. And the words I used were, this is not how I like to function. This is not how I like to function. And it's true. And I am committed to noticing these tight weeks and this tightness and naming it and trying again. That is often all we can do, right? Just try again. I don't want to be your harried white rabbit pastor. That I know for sure. And I know you don't want me to be that. And I don't want that for you either. Right? Because here's the thing about tightness of time and schedule, pastor or not, human being. Now I'm talking about human beings. There's no room for the mystery to move when things are too tight, right? And when I say mystery, capital M, I mean wonder, the unexpected, that which is heart opening, that which doesn't even have words, like that feeling, wow, what was that? What just happened? Beautiful. You all have words for this, right? I am certain you do, no matter what you believe in or what you don't. And you also know that when we are in a constricted, tight place in our lives, it's very, very difficult to feel it and know it. So that's what Reverend Frank meant. That was why his sermon was also a warning at my ordination. Don't succumb, Reverend Sophia. Don't succumb to the life of a busy minister who has forgotten how to encounter the holy, the mystery, you, that which is in you and is among us. For really, I see ministry as the blessed front row seat, literally sometimes, to see it all from. And my job is to make sure I have enough room in my heart and in my week to witness it. That is my service to you and to this congregation and to this faith. So I will keep trying and stumbling and trying again. Last week, for those of you who didn't know, I took a study week and I set the intention of spaciousness for myself. That was it. And every morning I sat in prayer, asking to know the mysteries when I see or feel them. Know them for what they were, little messages that might just guide me through the week that on normal, tightly packed days I might miss. That was my intention. And the first day I did this, I got one. I said this prayer, I sat quietly for a while, and then I decided I needed to go switch the laundry in the basement. And when I got down there, it had a few minutes left on it, and I wasn't going to go all the way back up and all the way back down, so I just decided to hang out in the parsonage basement for a while. And I took a look over all these huge plastic bins that we'd stuffed and tucked, manically in the summer into these huge, racks. And several of them held all of my daughter's things from when they were little keepsakes of bins like that, right? And at the bottom of one of them was a pair of Poppy, who's my youngest daughter, it was a pair of her shoes from when she was about 4. There were these little ruby red slippers that she'd been begging me for months. And I remember that they weren't cheap. And I remember being in the store trying to fit her for them. It was a big day. It was her birthday. And the thing with shoes and kids, you know this, right? It's a tough thing fitting shoes. You want to get it just right. You only get maybe, a few months sometimes out of the mystery of kids' feet, which can grow overnight, right? It truly. So there's an art to buying these shoes for any of you who have ever bought shoes for children, right? Because if you go too big, they get blisters and trip and they're non-functional, right? But too small, too tight, and overnight, they don't fit, right? So these particular ruby red slippers, I remember all these years ago, only came in whole sizes. I don't know why in the world, children's shoemakers, why the whole size? We need that. It made it so tricky because she put on the size too big. She couldn't wear them. And the other size down was just right here. And Poppy was making it very difficult that day. Bless her little red-headed heart. She was not going to leave that store without those ruby red slippers. So I went for the smaller size, and it was a rookie parent move. And I know, I did it, and sure enough, a mere 3 weeks later, barely broken in, they were too tight. So into the keepsake bin they went. I can't remember what I had to do to make that okay. Anyway, there they sat. And when I dug down and pulled them out last week, I thought about that sweet little spot, right? That room to grow in kids' shoes spot. Not too much, not too little, just right. And I think it's the same in our own lives. not just the life of your minister, your pastor, all of our lives. We cannot all be, nor would many of us want to be, ascetic monks in a monastery 24/7. But we also cannot be shackled to our busyness 24/7. One is too big, the other way too tight. And maybe it's true that in both cases, that we, unlike the boys that our poet writes about, that when we are in either extreme for too long, we lose the ability to love what is right in front of our faces, or laugh tears into our prayer rugs, thanks to a shared and utterly wonderful boing that we would have missed otherwise. Isn't this that sweet spot that is the place of mystery and wonder? That was the message I got from Poppy Shoes in the basement last week anyways. And I don't want to lose sight of the mystery within and among me for too long. Do you? I know these are such complicated times. Many of you are stretched to your breaking point. Many of you are caring for others who need you right now. And some of you are depending upon others for care. And let me tell you, please hear this, that no one here need feel badly about themselves because they can't find the time. Because your proverbial shoes are too tight and they're the only pair you've got right now. Hear that. All I ask of you is to tell someone. Start there. Tell me. Not so that we can fix it or come and save you, but because, as our choir sang earlier, you are not alone and you cannot bear this out alone. Nor do you need to. Nor do you need to. Anne Lamott says that there really are only 3 essential prayers to pray. Help, thanks, wow. If the only prayer you pray or speak to someone today is help, then you are well on your way. The wow will come, but we often have to start with the help. Some of you know this, right? And I'm telling you, I am still a beginner at this. As much as I stumble and fall, though, I am committed to the getting back up and trying again. And I know that is what I love about being your minister and being a part of congregational life, that we get to stumble and fall together and try again and try again. And one way to do this is to begin your day with a pause, a breath, and a simple prayer to make room for the mystery. Give you a glimpse of it, particularly in the most unexpected of places and people. Let us be treasure hunters together, not unlike searching for heartstones in strange places, or drawing a few on your papers just for good measure. For each day, and I sense you know this, is so very precious. It offers more boundless love and wondrous mystery than it does constrictedness or expectedness, doesn't it? Where is it? Who is it with? What is it? Start with these questions. And wow, you just might find that as our poet writes, that we are all built to love what is right in front of our faces. And I say, especially these days, may it be so. May it be so. May it be so.